Let's talk about smart cities. This is something that isn't discussed very often when the Great Reset is mentioned, but this is going to be a key feature in the world after we have the Great Reset, post reset. And I have the Wikipedia page pulled up defining what a smart city is, and we'll go ahead and read the first paragraph. It states, a small city is an urban area that uses different types of electronic methods and sensors to collect data, i.e., spying, I added that. Insights gained from the data are used to manage assets, resources, and services efficiently. In return, that data is used to improve the operations across the city. Notice, improve the operations across the city, not improve the life quality of the humans living there, but the operations, the efficiency, the conveniency. This includes data collected from citizens, devices, buildings, assets that is then processed, and analyzed to monitor and manage traffic and transportation systems, power plants, utilities, water supply, networks, waste, crime detection, information systems, schools, libraries, hospitals, and other community services. And in order to live in a smart city, you will have to be registered as a digital citizen. So your social security card will now become your IP address, and your IP address will be determined by the nanotechnology embedded within your body, from implanted within your body, from the multiple vaccinations that one needs in order to interact in a safe manner with the rest of human civilization. And from this, we will begin to collect data from your family history. Find out if you were a slave owner or not. Find out if you were a part of the Confederacy or not. Your family history, where does it go? Will it damn you? Potentially. And this is already taking place on a small scale when we look at Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all of these places, Microsoft, whatever, Apple, all of these places that are actively collecting your data and then using it by selling it to advertisers, other companies, etc., to then use their data to better improve their business. And so basically what this smart city is just a glorified surveillance state, or better yet, a smart prison. Because if one does not, this is where the social credit score will come into play with the smart cities. If you are producing bad data, you are bringing negative information into the zeitgeist of the smart city, you will lose social credit points, meaning you will not be able to access certain things. You will be easier, it'll be easier to control you because everything will be on this digital network. That's what the smart meters are for, by the way. The smart meters that will be hooked up to your houses, hooked up to other buildings, are there to mitigate the CO2 emissions. And if you are not within the allowed amount of CO2, you will then have your power shut off. They can control it. So while it seems nice because it'll increase the efficiency, it is imprisoning you. That's what these smart cities are. We have a huge battle going on right now in the UK, I believe, and other European countries probably, with social media companies. The UK and the European nations are trying to implement some laws to reduce the amount of invasive practices that these social media companies do. But that pales in comparison to what will be taking place in a smart city. This is Black Mirror type stuff. And this is what the smart city will look like. Something like this. There are different versions, there are different, renditions of it, but the idea is encapsulated pretty well in this picture. And in this picture are a bunch of high rises with vegetation on the side of them and on the roof of them, assumably where the food will be produced. And in some areas, like in Saudi Arabia, I believe they have cities similar to this where there are solar panels layering the streets and greenhouses too, and no cars. No cars. So everything will be within walking distance, probably not having to leave the apartment in which you live in, the pod in which you live in, because everything will be right there for you to access within that building. Now, you can leave the building, but there will probably be some simulations within inside of it that'll replicate the outdoors. Therefore, you don't need to go outside, so one thinks. So, as you can see, these things have a demonic concept behind them. I used to be intrigued by smart cities. I used to be intrigued by the idea of communal housing until I had four roommates when I first moved to Ohio, or three rather, and that was not cool. you know, definitely was not for me. It's not for everybody, but this is the future that they want to implement, and these smart cities will probably be the focal point of a state. It'll be the most important part of a state, therefore reverting back to the city-state as opposed to, the current system we have now. Cities, these smart cities, will be the home of power within a region, within a state. Anything outside of that city will be irrelevant within the state. And this is where all the power will go. And this is starting to happen a lot quicker than probably people anticipated. There's a company called Blockchains LLC. They just bought 67,000 acres in Nevada. And it is, let's see. So this was after learning about the embrace from Nevada on a passage of a bill of blockchain technology. And so they acquired 67,000 acres in Story County, Nevada for the purpose of building a better way. Sound familiar? Build back better? Something along those lines, right? And the idea is to build a high-tech community. And this is a new way of life right here. It says, we aim, and this is from the company's website, it says, we aim to build the most advanced high-tech community and society for businesses and residents in the country. The digital economy, an ecosystem developed due to the digital transformation taking place across the globe, has transformed traditional processes and models, which led to a rise of digital services, enabled people to interact more freely, whatever. And then right here, they make a mention of smart cities in the third paragraph. It says, when people hear the term smart cities, they often think of smart devices, smart meters, and sensors. However, that only begins to skim the surface. So everything we read in the Wikipedia page that alludes to a surveillance state or a prison state is just skimming the surface. It says, of how the technology can service a city or society. We believe the integration of our product suite is where the full potential of our smart community, digital economy, and connective society can be realized. And we think through the many services we use in everyday life, a digital identity with verified identifiable data attest by authorized third parties such as governments or trusted institutions can transform how we interact with the government, financial institutions, healthcare systems, utility providers, transportation systems, to name a few, and ultimately each other. A secure digital wallet for storing and managing access control plus immutable blockchain connectivity for various devices and applications provides an all-encompassing foundation for a prosperous digital society. As we develop our suite of tools and products, these solutions and principles will be integrated into the community's architecture, infrastructure, and governance model. Sounds familiar to what we read in the Wikipedia definition of a smart city. And as I was stating in there, you will have a social security card, but that social security card will be the IP address that was that is tied to the nanotechnology that is now inside your body after multiple vaccinations to make sure you are able to interact with society at large. Okay, and then it'll be rated. The data that's collected will be attested by authorized third parties. Then you'll have a digital wallet, so you have a digital identity and a digital wallet. Now, this company, as we all know from the Bill Gates and Melinda thing, they're making an ID 2020. ID 2020, a digital identification marker for the COVID-19 vaccine. Well, this company, too, is working on identity management. So it says right here, in the physical world, your identity is generally made up of your name and government-issued ID card that provides the necessary credentials to prove you are who you say you are. A digital identity works the same way, providing the digital world with credentials that prove you are who you say you are, but goes far beyond that because they're intrusive and they want to control everything you do because human life is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It's all about productivity, efficiency, and conveniency, and making a shit ton of money. And just taking a bunch of people to hell. But goes far beyond your name and possible picture. Our digital identity management system allows users to build digital representations of themselves to prove their identity, the things associated with them, important digital documents, properties, devices, and access rights. Oh, so you mean to tell me that you can identify their stuff, their identity using things that are associated with them, like their Facebook account that they were banned from back in 2021 for saying Trump's a good boy. Or you mean the fact that they are anti-government, or you mean the fact that they are against your smart cities, they are going to be a domestic terrorist. Oh, so all those things can be, attached onto your identity now. It's going to be readily available. As my parents used to tell me, be careful what you post on social media because it can prevent you from getting a job. Well, kids, be careful of what you post on social media because it may be preventing you from getting into a smart prison. Oh, I'm sorry, a smart city. And then right here, we have the digital asset management. So essentially the same thing, right? It says it's time to for a better place to store all your digital assets to address the challenges and whatever. So basically just providing a blockchain network for you to make transactions on and everything digital. You don't need anything physical, you just need a digital. So you have your fingerprint, your Bitcoin, and all of that will be on your IP address. It'll be on you. It'll be on your person, in your person, quite literally. And yeah, so this is what we see from this company. They bought 66,000 acres in Nevada. And here's why that's significant. Because there is a initiative, it's a bill draft by the governor of Nevada. Let's see here. It is Innovation Zone Bill Draft Update. Let's pull this up. Okay, it's pulling up here. And basically, we're not going to go through all of this. It's 18 pages. You can read it if you would like. I'm going to summarize it up, and we're going to scroll through it here. So it says, Bill Draft authorizing the creation of Innovation Zone. So an Innovation Zone is going to be a form of local government, a county government. So basically, a corporation is able to buy property, 55,000 acres worth, and build on it and basically become their own county in Nevada. Now, here's a couple rules. So for the purposes of this chapter, the executive director shall accept as initiative technology. So basically it's going to be for companies that are innovative, and have innovative technology, such as blockchain, autonomous technology, the Internet of Things, robotics, artificial intelligence, wireless technology, biometrics, and renewable resource technology. Okay, so this is all that is needed for a smart city. So Nevada is going to be the first state, if not one of the first states, that potentially starts the smart cities. And then people will want to live there. People will live in the blockchain LLC county. And it'll eventually be a Google city. There will eventually be an Apple city. All right. So right here it says a description of the innovative technology to be developed and used in the innovation zones. The applicant, okay, this is not. All right, comprehensive plan, development of the zone. The plan must include a description of the proposed development within the zone, including the necessary infrastructure and residential, commercial, and industrial land use of the zone. All right, how many employees will work there, how many, businesses, etc. Let's see. And they're going to have to work within the confines of the environmental design green building rating system or an equivalent rating system. They're going to have a capital of $250 million and a plan, a commitment to make an additional capital investment of at least $1 billion in the zone during the 10 years following approval. And let's see, it says an estimate of the economic impasse of the innovation zones. And so the idea for all of this is to increase or to diversify, rather, the economy in Nevada. That is the reason why the governor wants to implement this. And it goes into something that's pretty crazy. So this county, these initiative zones, once they're established and they're making money, they have residency, they're collecting taxes, they then establish a board of supervisors, and those board of supervisors are picked. Let's look this up. Board. Oh, yep, right there. So board of supervisors. All right. So the governing body of the initiation zone, of the innovation zone shall be a board of supervisors, which shall have the power and duty of the board of county commissioners. So before that, in 2, it says the innovation zone becomes a local government and a political subdivision of the state, with the powers and duty of a county separate from and independent of the county in which it is located. So it supplants any other government that was there as far as the county goes. And this board of supervisors, they're elected. There's like 4 of them. I think one's elected by the governor, and then the company that's taking over will then pick the rest of them. And they also have the ability to set up a court. They have the ability to collect taxes and provide services, public services. So they will then take over the role of government on a county level. And now this is just baby steps, and this is why I think city-states are the future, because this is just a baby step. This is just a county growing. And they are able to, within this bill, you can look it up for yourself, they're able to make deals with other, with other cities and counties as well, partner with them on certain projects, and eventually I'm sure they will begin to do the whole merger and acquisition thing with cities and cities and counties as well, and then we'll just see these huge Google cities and Apple cities. You think Los Angeles is a big city or New York City is a big city. Just wait until we have a Google city. They will pale, these other cities will pale in comparison. And it'll just be a smart prison that's going to be established here. Basically what they're doing is giving corporations, if this pass, the free reign to supplant governments in a very peaceful way, but it's economic warfare. It's just going to be going out with the old, in with the new is what's going on. This is a part of the Great Reset. This is why so many small businesses are being destroyed in order so that way they can. It's just one of the reasons, right? There's a lot of reasons, but it's one of the many reasons why small businesses are being destroyed, so that way they can build back better. These innovation zones could be in a place where there used to be a mall plaza or a bunch of plazas, a bunch of stores, a bunch of houses, whatever. And they can then, these wealthy corporations can then come in and just gobble up all that real estate for a relatively cheap price and then start converting it and making their own court system, etc. Taxes, all of these things, and becoming essentially a government. And this right here was prompted by Blockchain LLC's purchase of 66,000 acres of land. And also, I'm sure this helped out quite a bit too. The CEO of Blockchain LLC, Jeffrey Burns. Now, I don't know if it was the CEO exactly, but no, it was. Okay, so right here it says Blockchains LLC gave $50,000 to a Home Means Nevada PAC, which managed Sisolak's transition into office in January 19th, according to a campaign finance record. The company also donated $10,000 to his campaign in 2018 election cycle. Opponent also received $10,000 from the firm. Burns himself gave $10,000 to the Democratic Party in 2019 and various donations ranging between $1,000 to $5,000 to various lawmakers from both parties. So, as you can see, they are paying off both sides to implement their city, to build a structure for their city. Because we have this financial warfare that's going on right now with the Wall Street bets. But as now it's being revealed, hedge funds were taking part in the short squeeze. And my opinion is that it was orchestrated by hedge funds and maybe even governments to try and do a controlled demolition of the economy and regulate what the citizens are able to do as far as trading goes. Because the idea is to create a stakeholder capitalism for the Great Reset, which basically means everybody connected to the economy itself in some way, shape, or form will have to be treated equitably. I'm not sure if even that's a word. With equity. It has to be equitable. Meaning equal outcome. So communism, is what the stakeholder capitalism is, which is why they want to hook you up to, this whole digital identity, digital wallet, collecting your data, etc. It's all a part of that. Okay? So, yeah, I just thought this was very interesting and something that many people aren't talking about, and it's starting to really take form in America. So we'll see. As of right now, that an innovation zone is just a draft. Came out January 31st of this year. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens. But these smart cities will be the future of society at large. That does not mean we have to participate in the smart cities. There is another way out. There's like two singularities taking place right now. One with the technological revolution, all of that, etc. But then the other is returning back to God, returning back to nature. And, with this whole off-grid movement that's taking place, homesteading movement that's taking place, that is the other route that we can take. We don't necessarily have to go within the smart cities. We can choose to live outside of it. There are people who rejected FDR's New Deal and don't have a Social Security card, don't have a birth certificate whenever that came about, don't have any of these tracking devices or stock exchange tools that the people of today like myself have. It's all about accepting or rejecting the offer, but first you have to know the offer's there, and hopefully this has been illuminating in some way to you, and now you can more so see the deal that's being presented to you. And it's up to you if you want to accept it or not. See, right now, I have microgreens going in my basement. We have a garden outside. Eventually going to get more land. Eventually going to get some livestock. Maybe even while we live in the tiny, area that we do. But there's always something you can do. It isn't all doom and gloom. You can reject the deal. You don't have to take it. Just have to become more self-sufficient. And that's what we all need to start working towards right now if we do not want to live in these smart prisons, is simply to start living below our means and producing what we need to survive, as opposed to depending on other people. But it's not so bad to depend on other people, so I take that back. It's more so about lowering your dependency on this beast system, which will produce these smart cities, and localizing your supply chain. So, the smart cities of the past were the communities where you knew the butcher, you knew the pub owner, you knew the sawmill guy, and you knew the farmer. You had a personal relationship with all of them. That was your smart city back in the day. Everything you needed within walking distance, or a horse and buggy. So, yeah, but hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you do, please hit the like button and subscribe, and pass it along to a friend if you think they'll find it useful. All right, much love. Peace.